Greetings, YouTube and buddies. This is Ultimate 23 Dragon, and welcome to another edition of the Top 10 Countdown. This one is a little bit of a backstory. So, before we get to that countdown, here's the backstory. A few years ago, I found an episode called The 10, which is a special that the Speed Channel had before they transferred into Fox Sports 1. The particular episode was one I thought was going to be a personal favorite, which would be the greatest moments in Truck Series history. Now, for those who don't know, the Truck Series is my favorite series in NASCAR. So I was hyped up about this episode until they flat out butchered it. I did a series of videos a few years ago depicting each moment and why I was upset about them. But because no one really understood what I was talking about, I just deleted them and decided to do this instead. So for those who don't know, and I'll have a link somewhere, probably in the description or in the video, their top 10 truck moments are as follows. The first ever Truck Series race, the 99 finale, Top 9's 4 straight Talladega and Daytona wins, as opposed to Brendan Gaughan's 4 straight wins at Texas. Mike and Chrissy Wallace getting the chance to race together. Ron Hornaday's 5th straight win in 2009. The 2008 Phoenix truck race debacle. And you'll see some of the stupidest faces you'll ever see redone lap 2. Oh, and here's some moments from that particular part of the show, by the way.
It was the championship that nobody seemed to want to win. They went out there in the early laps at Phoenix, knowing that the championship was on the line, and just proceeded to do one dumb thing after another. Piling into wrecks, spinning people out, spinning themselves out unassisted.
Hornaday gets himself in trouble, and all Johnny Benson's got to do is ride around, driving Miss Daisy, and he's got this championship in the bag.
We thought, okay, it's a cakewalk. All they'll have to do is just go out there and finish.
Everybody stood around and said, I can't believe it. Here we go again.
And Johnny Benson will win the championship. Wow, unbelievable.
It was amazing to see those two battle it out, and they really made it more dramatic than it probably was.
Good job, man. Good job.
Yeah, Fox doesn't hate Johnny Benson for any reason, do they? Anyway, number 4 was the 2010 championship by Top 9. Number 3 was Johnny Sauter versus Ron Hornaday in the Kansas truck race in 2010. That awesome slide thing. Number 2 was the 2003 debacle finale. And number 1 was the inaugural Daytona truck race. Some of those moments will be in this countdown, and others... So, basically, I am going to teach the yahoos at Fox what a true greatest truck series moment countdown should look like. This is Top 10 Countdown. The greatest moments in truck series history. According to me. The Truck Series has this unbelievable ability to basically give us an unexpected last lap win. And whenever it happens, you just simply can't believe it. And that's why number 10 is basically any unexpected last lap win throughout the Truck Series history. Now, there are a lot of examples you could use, but I decided to choose the 4 most common among me and my buddies. There was Chad Chaffin's infamous win in Indy 2004. If you saw the first part of my top 100 OMG NASCAR finishes, you'll know why I say it's infamous. There was also Travis Wapple's Bristol win in 2003. And the reason that was unexpected is because Kevin Harvick was sure to look like he was going to win until he lost a tire. One of my personal favorite finishes, the 2006 Nashville race. That was a race won by Johnny Benson. I have 2 Johnnies in the NASCAR dozen, so I have to clarify which one. But I think the most unexpected last lap finish in Truck Series history had to be the 2005 Memphis race. That's the one where Ron Hornaday looked like he was going to cruise to a win. And when the last lap started, back in the pack, Jimmy Spencer spun out. When Ron Hornaday in second place, Brandon Witt gets to the smoke, Hornaday slows up thinking the truck is there. Brandon did not, and Hornaday gets turned around. And sure enough, Brandon Witt goes on to his first and only career Truck Series win. So, even though there were unexpected last lap wins concerning my guys, I think Brandon Witt's win in 2005 at Memphis is the most unexpected victory in Truck Series history. I previewed this list to my boyfriend, and he told me that this has never happened in the other two National Touring Series. So, this is a pretty unique thing for the Truck Series. Number 9 is the fact that on 2 occasions, the Truck Series has had 3 straight first-time winners. Back in 1998, Andy Houston started a trend that when he won the New Hampshire truck race on a last lap bump and run against Craig Biffle, a race I hope to see on YouTube one day, he started a unbelievable trend where there were 3 straight first-time winners. After Andy Houston won his race, the next race was won by another first-time winner, obviously. In this case, it was Terry Cook. And then the race after, Jimmy Hensley got his first Truck Series win. At that point, something unbelievable happened, because that has never happened in the other 2 National Touring Series. And yet, a decade later, it happened again. In 2008, the crazy Charlotte truck race resulted in Matt Craftsman getting his first win after all these years of competing in the Truck Series. The next week after, Scott Speed got his unexpected first win, because many thought he wouldn't do anything in NASCAR. He won a truck race, so And then probably the most unexpected of all 6 races combined happened when Donnie Leon managed to get his first win at the Mansfield event in 2008. The Truck Series is always good at producing history that you might never see, and sometimes only see in the Truck Series. The Cup Series and the second tier series, whether it be Busch, Nationwide, or Xfinity, has never accomplished this, which makes the Truck Series great and unique in its own way. One track that is always popular with the Truck Series is Atlanta. And the reason is because the number 8 moment in this countdown are the Mid-2000s Atlanta finishes. More often than not, you will see an unexpected and awesome finish at Atlanta. And the 3 prime examples occurred in 2004 and 2005. In 2004, after a ferocious crash made everyone in a down mood, Bobby Hamilton Sr. and Mike Skinner pulled off an awesome finish of their own. Sr., using his signature high line, managed to pass Mike Skinner on the last lap, and Skinner got loose off the corner, spun out, and Hamilton Sr. cruised to victory. Just 1 year later, Ron Hornaday and Bobby Labonte decided to try and top that finish, with nearly the exact same ending, but instead, somehow, Ron Hornaday managed to save his loose truck off the corner and get more momentum on the low side than Bobby Labonte on the high side. How that happened, I'll never know. That defies physics to me. But probably the most unbelievable Atlanta Truck Series finish in history had to be the 2005 fall race. This is the one where Kyle Busch had to come from, I think it was lower portion of the top 10 to pass a lot of drivers within 3 laps on fresh tires to win. And with the other drivers on older tires, he actually managed to pull it off. But the finish was so unbelievable, it remains one of the greatest Truck Series finishes ever. Kyle Busch had to pass Jack Sprague, who was the leader, on the final turn of the final lap. At the same time, Bobby Labonte and Johnny Benson were fighting for 3rd place. Sprague and Benson, who were the lower trucks compared to their opponents in that particular race, got arrow loops off the corner. Now, Sprague spun right in front of the field. Benson went through the grass. But Sprague's portion of that crash caused a big mess that captured everyone else in this event except Benson and Talbotine. And the fact that Busch actually managed to win this race without doing anything devious, like he usually would, and he bounced off the wall to save it, that was pretty extreme. And that, along with Hamilton Sr.'s Atlanta win and Hornaday's Atlanta win, makes it one of the most unbelievable and awesome moments in Truck Series history. Yes, I said it. A Kyle Busch win was extreme. And awesome. The number 7 moment is the 2010 Kansas Sliding Fest between Johnny Sauter and Ron Hornaday. I remember watching this race with my buddies, and my buddy named Mero likes Hornaday, and everyone knows that I'm big with Johnny Sauter. When they did what they did in the Kansas truck race, I could not believe what I saw. I literally could not believe it. It was so unbelievable. The fact that those two, after Hornaday's driving, nearly crashed them both guys managed to save it, and Sauter managed to save it more because he bounced off the wall, much like Kyle Busch in the Atlanta 2005 finish I was referencing. Totally unbelievable. And they were so far ahead of third place, they stayed 1 and 2 throughout the entire remainder of the race. In addition to that, the interesting thing about it is that the fact that Sauter hitting the wall actually saved him because it produced less tire smoke and tread from his tires. Hornaday had to smoke his tires a bit more in order to save his truck, and therefore he lost all the grip and momentum and eventually faded back, giving Johnny Sauter the win the day after his birthday. It was totally unexpected, and I don't think it's going to be duplicated ever again. And that's what makes it so awesome. Basically, any event that has happened in terms of your first event is always going to be a major deal. For the Truck Series, it definitely proved beyond that. There was a great finish, and the finish was so amazing. It was just a preview of what was to come in Truck Series history. And the way that everything rolled out in terms of that particular event, it was so intriguing and so awesome. The Truck Series since day one has always proven itself as a superior series. And as time rolls on, it continues to prove that way. In 1992, when Alan Kulwicki won the Sprint Cup Series championship as an owner-driver, a lot of people thought that was something that would never happen again, even after Alan's tragic death the year after. Now, depending on your definition, that kinda wasn't the case when Tony Stewart won his championship in 2011, but the Truck Series actually broke that marker first. Number 5 is the 2004 championship, won by owner-driver Bobby Hamilton Sr. That year was a pretty historic year for the Truck Series. There were a lot of intriguing things that happened that caught everybody's attention. There were unexpected races, unbelievable things before rule changes. Oh, that gateway race. And it resulted in a popular duel between two popular veterans, Bobby Hamilton Sr. and Dennis Setzer. Setzer once again came up one position short, and Hamilton Sr. managed to win the championship at his signature number 4 Square D Dodge as an owner-driver, one of 2 straight championships for Dodge. Everything here was pretty historic. It was the first owner-driver championship win in a national touring series since Kulwicki's 92 win. It was the first championship for Dodge. And overall, it was pretty much a feel-good story, especially after what had happened a few years later when we lost Bobby Sr. to cancer. But his toughness and his perseverance through everything that has happened, not only in his career and his life, is why his 2004 championship will always remain as one of the great moments in Truck Series history. have a little bit of fun with number 4, because number 4 is the 2000 Daytona truck race. The first ever truck race at the famed Daytona International Speedway. A lot of people have this number 1 because of the fact that Jeff Bodine survived that crash that he was in. I actually demoted it a bit because of that, but it probably would have only been demoted by 1 spot. Because if the Bodine thing wouldn't have happened, I probably would have put it like number 3. But anyway, even though it's most known for that ferocious Jeff Bodine incident, there was actually some pretty good racing involved in this particular event. Once again, another unexpected last lap finish. It was a cool duel between Andy Houston, Mike Wallace, Kurt Busch, and a few other drivers surrounding the area. Once again, draft attack took place against Andy, and, well, let's just say that Mike Wallace managed to get to Andy after Andy got arrow loose off turn 4. And you're never going to convince me Kurt Busch finished second in that race. I think Andy beat him to the line. But anyway, it was a pretty cool race, and even though it featured that crazy Bodine incident, it gave the drivers the ability to access the fans a bit during the cleanup, which is something that was very unexpected at that time. But anyway, with the fact that everybody survived and no one was majorly hurt, and the fact that the truck race had some pretty intense racing, even though Mike Wallace won, it was a very cool moment for the Truck Series history, in one of the most unexpected and pretty awesome Daytona events. There's actually a few more that's better, though, but that's for later. Number 3 is the 2003 finale. It was a pretty unexpected finale because of all the events that have happened, but for me, it's even more personal. Now, I don't think any of you know this, but I actually did not get the chance to watch the 2003 truck finale at Homestead. And the reason for that is because that Monday, I had lost my Uncle Mike to cancer. And everyone in the entire family was very upset, including my mom. I basically had to play the consoling card, like I always do when it comes to something that happens with her family. The viewing was the same night as the truck race, so all I could get was the starting lineup. And I had a chuckle when I found out Marty Houston was in the race. But anyway, I did not know anything about the Truck Series finale until the day after, which was the day of the funeral, which is why I missed the Busch Series finale, and thank God I did. If you know who won the title, then you'll know why I said that. But anyway, we were coming back from the funeral. My dad had found out who won the Truck Series title. And he says to me, "Hey, guess who won the truck title?" I said, "Brendan Gaughan," because that's why I expected to win the title. He says, "No." I said, "Oh, okay, Ted Musgrave?" Because it was Andy's teammate, I was a little upbeat about it at the time. He says, "No." I'm going, "Okay." And I really didn't think Quapple was going to win it because, well, even my luck back then was not that good. And I was trying to think who the fourth person was, who was Dennis Setzer, but eventually, when I struggled to guess, because I couldn't think of Setzer's name at the time, my dad says, "I think his name was Travis." I bursted out, "Quapple won the title?" However, the events that got to Quapple getting the title were pretty unexpected. First was the Brendan Gaughan incident with the aforesaid Marty Houston. Now, the Houston brothers are not guys who wreck people on purpose, so if you look at the crash closely, you'll see that Marty actually got loose coming off the corner, like you see a lot of drivers do. They get loose off the corner when they're up next to the wall. That's what happened to Marty. You really think he crashed him on purpose? Come on. If Marty crashed Brendan on purpose, you would have seen something on purpose, not an arrow loose thing and Brendan comes by and bang gets him. Come on. But the more unexpected thing, well, let me backtrack a bit. The reason that Brendan Gaughan could not evade Marty's speeding truck is because there was someone to Brendan's inside. And that truck barely dodged Brendan when he was accidentally hit by Marty. And for those saying that Smith added extra trucks to take out the other guys, why did one of the backup trucks finish in the 9th position, if I remember correctly? It was the 27. I don't remember the name. I want to say Tyler Young, but yeah. But anyway, in addition, why did Brendan Gaughan and Travis Quapple's team add extra trucks to that race? You forgot that, didn't you? Leading us to the end of the race. At the end of the race, the final restart, which I believe was a green-white checkered, resulted in a cluster rage out when someone spun their tires. Ted Musgrave, who was behind in a Setzer, went to the inside of him to prevent wrecking each other. Now, under NASCAR rule at that time, that actually resulted in the black flag. And what actually happened there is that even after that, Musgrave and Jimmy Smith, who reacted like crazy, thought that he'd won the title. Meanwhile, the IWX team of Quapple knew they won the title. They just hadn't confirmed it yet. And after about 25 minutes, they finally figured out Quapple won the title. Musgrave was black flagged. And Smith and Musgrave weren't happy about that. And it's part of the reason the 2005 championship is going to be one of those infamous championships. Anyway, that's basically my story about the 2003 truck finale. Unexpected things resulted in an unexpected champion. Deserving, true, because he was very consistent, but very unexpected. It just goes to show that a lot of weird circumstances can result in a lot of unexpected things. And that's why, despite the supposed controversies, the 2003 Truck Series finale will remain one of the greatest of all time. But not the greatest. Number 2 is a tie, and basically it's because it was kind of the exact same finish. Remember when I said that the 2000 Daytona truck race was not the greatest Daytona truck race of all time? There are two that, to me, are, depending on what you believe was better. Number 2 is a tie between the 2003 Daytona truck race and the 2007 Daytona truck race. 2003 was pretty historic, and it's because it was the first truck race that was on the Speed Channel, which is Fox Sports 1 now, so. It was a pretty intriguing finish. A lot of top competitors got raged out in the big one, including both of the Ultra Gang trucks, and it resulted in a pretty cool duel that resulted in a 3-wide finish between Rick Crawford, who beat Travis Quapple, and Robert Presley. That was a pretty cool event. 2007 might have outdone it, though. Anyway, a pretty intriguing thing that happened within that particular truck race was basically it was Travis Quapple versus Toyota. Quapple was driving a Roush Ford. Yeah, that went well. But anyway, the intriguing thing that ended up happening in terms of that event was a pretty awesome 3-wide finish. What happened was Mike Skinner gave a big push to Johnny Benson, who was behind Jack Sprague. In turn, the momentum from Skinner and Benson gave Sprague enough momentum to try and battle Quapple for the win. Meanwhile, Benson tried to sneak against both of them and try to get the win on the inside. He ran out of time to get Sprague, but he did get Quapple. And a pretty awesome finish in its own right. And ironically, I think that was Jack Sprague's last win. I know this is only Daytona reign, and it was only a win of 07. It might have been. But anyway, it was a pretty cool finish. Both of them were 3-wide at Daytona. That's how racing in the Truck Series at Daytona is supposed to be. If 2000 was something like that, regardless of who would have won, it probably would have been a tiny bit higher. But as much as those races are, there is one event that will stand out for the test of time in Truck Series history. It's not because of who won the title. It's not because of the circumstances behind it. It's not because of what happened a year later to the champion. It's not because of NASCAR trying to rage him out. It's not because of the unexpectedness of this particular finish. It's all that and then some. The greatest Truck Series moment ever is the 2008 Homestead finale. Now, before all of you start typing in the comments, she didn't think Johnny Benson won the title, that's biased, there's more to that than that. In 2008, Johnny Benson and Ron Hornaday had an incredible duel that will stand the test of time in Truck Series history. It resulted in a ridiculous rule change for NASCAR to try and screw Benson. I'm not kidding. They took horsepower from Toyota to try and give Chevy an advantage. And it backfired. Martinsville. And then we had the ridiculousness that was the Phoenix event, where both of them went crash crazy. And around the same time as the Phoenix event was the announcement that Johnny was leaving Bill Davis Racing. Very unexpected. And it made me a little bit curious as to why. And a lot of ridiculous thoughts ran through my head at that point. But anyway, what ended up happening is that when we got to Homestead, whoever beat the other would win the championship. Everyone believed easily that Ron Hornaday would win the championship. And it looked like it was headed that way until the last caution came out. Do you pit to get fresh tires, or do you stay out for track position? Hornaday, who was ahead of Benson at that point, came in for tires. Benson stayed on the track. And when all was said and done, when the race ended with Tabadine beating Kevin Harvick and Brian Scott, Johnny managed to beat Ron Hornaday by 1 spot and won the Truck Series title by 7 points. And in terms of being on the racetrack, Benson did not beat Hornaday by that much. So, that was pretty unbelievable. It literally came down to only about a few feet. But there's more to it than that. The title sponsor that brought the Truck Series on the map, Craftsman. This was their last event because Camping World would take over starting in 2009. This was Craftsman's finale. For them to get that unbelievable of a championship, the championship duel, for them to have that kind of an unbelievable duel and an unbelievable race, for Craftsman's finale, that is the main reason it's the #1 Truck Series moment of all time. Even if Ron Hornaday would have won the title, that's still the greatest moment in Truck Series history. And all the things that have happened in terms of that event, the unexpectedness of it all, a first-time Truck Series champion, Craftsman's finale, a good race to boot between Bodine, Harvick, and Brian Scott, and eventually what happened afterward with Benson's truck career, which basically was Red Horse Racing screwing him before he was nearly killed in a super modified. All of that combined, not just Johnny winning the title, but all of it combined. And that being Craftsman's farewell, that's why it's the greatest moment in Truck Series history. And that's my final answer.